Welcome back, guys, to another episode Invest in Your Future. I'm your host, Coach Kenny, CEO of Kirunda Group Corporation. I want to thank you guys for joining me for another Thursday. We're here every other Thursday because, like I said, it became a little busy, so the episodes had to slow down because I had to take care of some business. So I had to cut down the time, but everything is getting improved. Obviously, we have a new microphone. Hopefully, you guys can hear me well. I've got some comments that my podcast was low, so I want to make sure the guys can hear me. So I went and got a new mic, and hopefully it's loud enough and it gets you guys, so you guys can hear it without blasting your radio to the maximum. So if you guys have any questions, comments, please leave them to wherever you listen to this, whether that's on YouTube, on Instagram, or on the podcast, wherever Stitcher, Apple, wherever you listen to this. Just make sure you leave a comment. We love thumbs up, stars, give us everything, subscribe, and we'll try to answer any questions you guys have also if you do have questions. So today's episode, I really want to make it quick in and out, but it was a question that came to me through one of my students, and I felt like it'd be a great podcast episode because I think it's really necessary for people to learn this. So the question that I received from one of my students was, what makes a great investor? And I said, that's a great question. What makes a great investor? So what makes the difference between a guy like Warren Buffett, who's worth billions, to a guy who's worth a couple hundred thousand, to a guy who's worth, a couple $100? What's the difference between those three investors? And I'm gonna break it down to you, these couple things that make the difference between the great investors and the average. Because if you're not a great investor, you're pretty much average. It's guaranteed. So, and everyone can become a great investor. This is a crazy thing. It's a skill. It's a life skill. So becoming a great investor is actually a skill you can learn. It should be taught in schools. That's how important this is. That's how big of a question everyone should ask themselves. What makes a great investor? Because if you want to become a great investor, you're gonna have to do these certain things. So first of all, we have to define what's a great investor. And the best definition I have found is a person who delays present pleasure for future gain. So let me repeat that. A person who delays present pleasure for future gain. So that means a great investor, by definition, has to sacrifice something because you're sacrificing what you have now for future gain, and you're hoping that you're gonna get, if you invest 1x, you're trying to get 10x in the future or 5x or whatever your number is. So that is what makes a great investor. A person who delays present pleasure for future gain. It's that simple. So now, what makes a great investor? There's a couple of things that make great investors. The first thing is, which is I think synonymous with any great investor, is patience. Patience, patience, patience. Great investors don't rush. Great investors don't push for anything that is just played by the media. They're patient. That's the number one thing. They're patient. Great investors are patient. They say, you can't rush greatness. Same thing, you can't rush great investors because you can't be a great investor in 1 year. It's that simple. So it takes patience. The second thing is time. Time. Great investors use time as leverage. So whether that's 5 years or 50 years, they're leveraging time. So great investors know how to leverage time and they use it to their advantage. So great investors do that. The third thing is they're studious. Great investors are studious, meaning they read a lot. Warren Buffett, he reads 6 to 8 hours a day. That's the difference between a guy who's making 100 billion to, the couple $100,000 to a couple $100. It's that simple. These couple of things right here. Their patience, meaning they don't rush into investments. They don't just do things. They actually calculate it. Their time, so they're using time, 5, 10, 15, 20 years to their advantage, to leverage time. All great investors do this. Warren Buffett, he's been investing for like 50, 60 years. That's how he gets monster returns. And an investor comes into wherever you invest in, whether that's real estate, crypto, stock market, real estate, whatever you're investing in. All you want to do, I don't care what it is And I tell people you should invest in real estate, you should invest in this, but most people in the end up doing their own thing. So you have to understand what makes a great investor in crypto, in stocks, in real estate, and all these things is these factors right here. Their patience, their time, they get the timing right, or they get the timing right in terms of length. You know, the person who bought Bitcoin at $10 is making a killing right now, just because they're using time and they're using their patience. They've held it for a long time. So, and if they were studious, that means they read about Bitcoin, they got in early, and they made that return. You have to understand how these great investors work and how they think. It's a simple mindset shift. So once you're patient and you use time to your advantage, you know, and you're studious, meaning you study up, or you get the books that you need to. You know, all my books are either leadership books or real estate books, or time prioritization times, way to improve my time. It's that simple, because those things I wanted to work on. Real estate, time management, so I can handle my time, because I was garbage with my time. You know, every one of these skills, like I said, is should be a life skill that should be taught in school. So once you're patient, once you have used time, once you're studious, you have to understand that now they take risks, calculated risks, meaning that they don't just jump into an event. They don't just, so let's take an example. Bank of America right now pays 0.01% or savings account. So meaning you put $2,500 into the account. After 1 year, you're gonna make 25 cents. That's a bad investment. That's not an investment. That's just the plain vanilla. So if you, let's say, take that $2,500 and buy a piece of real estate, or you do something else with it that gets you even a 10% return, 10%, and anybody can get a 10% return. Just read one book and you get 10% return. So you get $250. You get a lot more money because you just did that little reading, that little difference, or used a little bit longer time. So a lot of people, they want to play the stock market. I'll get a lot of questions about the stock market. Let me get into the stock market. I want to be a great investor in the stock market. Well, the average person loses money in the stock market. 80-90% of people lose money in the stock market. So that's going to be a calculated risk. You're risking your money to people who are going to manage the money for you, hopefully. So that's a calculated risk. You're risking your money with somebody else. If you feel like you want to do that, the best way, and I have it on my website, is dollar cost averaging. It's that simple. But now, if you want to get a bigger return, because average return for stocks is about 7%. But if you want to get higher, 10%, 15%, 20%, infinite percent, there's people out there making infinite. But how do they do that? They learned how to be patient, how to be, how to use time. I've used the last 5 years to make me so much money because I was just being patient. If you do the same thing, you'll make so much more money, and then being studious. Warren Buffett, like I said, reads 6 to 8 hours a day. I don't have time to read 6 to 8 hours a day, but I make sure I read for an hour a day. That's it. Just an hour a day. It's that simple. These couple things. And then I take risks also. Last thing is you have to take a calculated risk. If you take this, let's say two people have the same amount of money, 17,000, 17,000. One person goes and buys a 4-family and puts people in it and starts renting it. The other person puts his money in the stock market. They're both taking risks, but now the more calculated risk is the piece of real estate, because the stock market, you lost control. With the real estate, you have all the control. You can paint it, you can fix it, you can refinance it, you can increase the rent, so you can do so many more things to increase your income. So that's a calculated risk. Same thing. Yes, you might be able to buy a stock that pays you a dividend, but even then, that's just limited income. So those are the things that great investors think about. They think about delaying present pleasure for future gain. I'm delaying everything that I want now to make sure I have a bright future. I make sure I invest in my future. That's why this podcast is called Invest in Your Future. You have to put in something. You're investing something, whether that's your time by reading and doing something like that, or your money by putting into a piece of real estate, or doing something with, where you feel comfortable, you learn, about, if you learn about crypto, do something that you want to do, but make sure you do use all these things if you want to be a great investor. It doesn't matter what you want to invest in. If you want to be in the, the shoe factory business, you know, you can follow the same mindset, same kind of steps. It's that simple. So if you guys understand this, please leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. If you interested, like I said, we always buying properties also. So give us a call, text us. We looking for properties all around nationwide. We give referral fees also, so it can get you paid also. Guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Until the following Thursday, I'll see you at the top.